guys, welcome back to the Age of the Geek podcast. I am not Chris. I am in fact what Chris will look like in 30 years. This is Chris.
Hey guys, what's up? Oh, blurred for a minute. We're good though.
Today we're doing something special on his channel, not mine.
Yeah.
Chris is going to be the guest and I'm going to be your host. Hi, I'm Pepper. And when I was young, there was only like three comic book heroes. They were pretty bad though. They just sort of walked around and arrested people who were jaywalking. But today is a very special day because I have always wanted to know what your favorite character in the Star Wars universe is. Now, granted, I've been watching him watch Star Wars and all its associated franchises for a very long time, since before he could read. So the question is, what is your favorite Star Wars character? Is it in fact one of
Darth?
Whatever this is.
Revan. In fact, that is...
Okay, let's stipulate that it has to be a Star Wars character that I could have conceivably heard of. What's your favorite Star Wars character of all time?
My favorite Star Wars character of all time would be Revan. This is his helmet. I got it for
What's your favorite Star Wars character that's actually appeared in a movie or TV show?
Anakin Skywalker. Absolutely Anakin.
So last week we actually went and watched episode 3,
Revenge of the Sith. It is also my absolute favorite movie ever.
It is the darkest.
It is the best.
There's like 10 people lose limbs. Just lop them off.
That's the best movie ever.
Some dude burns to death at the end?
Hey. Not to death, just, almost.
I mean, at least Obi-Wan could have put him out of his misery, poor fellow, instead of just walking away.
Yeah.
He could have gotten a fire extinguisher, called a robot to come give him some Bactine.
And then we saw what happened in Kenobi when they met up again. He didn't know he survived until he heard
Kathleen,
Darth Vader.
So no, okay.
Kenobi was a good show.
Why? Oh, why? So, in other words, your favorite character is Darth Vader.
Yes. Well, Anakin and Darth Vader. Though they're technically... Not technically, but they are kind of two separate people.
Okay, explain. First and foremost, why is Anakin your favorite character? Like, little kid Anakin from number 1 who was whiny.
I mean, he was very good.
Having raised you, I can see why that character might appeal to you.
Why?
Don't ask questions.
What do you mean? I mean, Anakin is such a good character because they went in depth to show how, from the first movie where he's a kid, the second movie where he's basically a teenager, like mid to late teens. Because remember,
he was whiny in the second one too. But just more of
he's a teenager, which makes sense.
Don't ask questions.
Hey. In the second movie where he's kind of, he's a teenager, so he's going through the teenage angst and sometimes he wants to rebel.
Or wipe out an entire village of sand people.
To be fair, to be fair, they captured his mother.
Even the little kids? The little kid sand people?
We didn't see them. I know he said, and the women and children too, but that was off screen, so we don't have to worry about it.
So also, don't ask questions.
Don't ask questions. But I'm just saying that, in the first movie we got to see, like, where he grew up, how he grew up. He also hated the Tusken Raiders because he hated that entire planet because he was also a slave trader. Or not a slave trader, he was a slave, and he didn't want his mother to be a slave again with the Tuskens.
That makes sense.
They also captured his mama.
Who
would not go kill a bunch of people if they had captured their mama.
That's a fair point. It's a fair point.
Not saying I...
So what you're
legally,
saying is,
I'm not saying I would.
So what you're saying is Anakin went all redneck on the Tusken Raiders.
Sure, yeah. Something like that.
If Anakin had been from Louisiana, don't ask questions.
He would have had a Slap Your Mama or a Tony Satchery style lightsaber, which would have been funny. But Anakin is a very good character, and it showed with the prequels, it showed the story of how the Jedi really failed him. I saw a TikTok the other day.
Failed him? They were trying to help him out the whole time.
Most of them were not. I saw a TikTok the other day that explained this. And honestly, they were right. In the prequels, the Jedi are not the good guys. At all. If you really think about it.
Wait, are these the same movies I saw?
Yes.
Samuel L. Jackson is not the good guy.
No. He is
Liam Neeson. Not the good guy.
He was the good guy. my friend Nate and I are going to make a video tomorrow that's also going to be put out right after this video, where we're going to talk in depth about what would have happened. What?
I mean, just the Jedi, the good guys. We're not the good guys.
No.
What about Obi-Wan?
Obi-Wan was one of the only ones that was actually a good guy. They were.
So you're saying the Sith was a good guy?
No, they were.
Because that one orange dude became half a man at the end of the first movie.
Darth Maul. He's not orange. He's
ish.
Black and red and black.
Something like that. Well,
Yeah.
who cares? He's
Stop it.
I think
Don't
he
do it.
needs to stand up and take part.
He does this every single time I try to talk about Darth Maul.
You think about it. I mean,
Don't do it.
Obi-Wan really cut the
do
legs
it.
out from under him.
Every time.
Yeah.
But no, think about it. The Jedi did not interfere. Yoda is not that good of a person until after he exiles himself.
Them's fighting words. Baby Yoda?
Grogu
No.
is a great character.
Nope.
Grogu.
Nope.
Grogu.
Nope.
Grogu. I'm gonna
That's a
have a
terrible
Lego
name.
version of him at some point because I have the Lego Mandalorian head and I'm gonna put them together. It's gonna be the Mandalorian and
Baby
Grogu.
Yoda. Anyway, back to the episode.
Yes.
So, Anakin... So what you're saying is it wasn't Anakin's fault he became Darth Vader.
Not completely.
You're an enabler.
No. I'm just saying it's not completely because the Jedi were constantly keeping tabs on him. They were not letting him live up to his full potential. To
be fair, we saw what his full potential could do.
That was when he decided that the Jedi no longer could help him and that he needed something else to help him.
And random sand people.
And random sand people, yes. The Jedi were not helpful to him. And they instead feared him and feared what he could be and what he could do, which obviously came true.
One might argue that was a self-fulfilling prophecy. They
Exactly.
created the very...
I mean...
Are you agreeing with me?
Yes. Think about it like this.
How do I feel about that?
Think about it like this. Mace Windu was constantly since episode 1, I don't trust him.
Well, that's true.
But,
to be fair, that was more Nick Fury than Mace Windu.
that is true.
Don't ask
I'm
questions.
tired of these MF and battle droids on this MF.
Is he dead?
Nope. No, Mace Windu's not dead. We all know it.
Okay, back to Anakin. I know that you watched shows in between movies.
Clone Wars.
How
is the
did
best
Anakin
show.
get the thing that apparently modern technology can replace a limb, but it can't do plastic surgery?
There was in 2005, 2003, there was a Clone Wars animated movie. And it was different it was like before the Clone Wars show. It was literally right after episode 2 and before even the Clone Wars show. I don't remember the whole thing. It's been a very long time, but I remember he fought Asajj Ventress, who was...
Like 3/4 of your life.
That's a good point.
Yeah. I'm sorry, found who?
Her name's Asajj Ventress.
Of course it is.
Mm-hmm. She was Count Dooku's, not associate. What's the word I'm looking for?
Friend?
Apprentice.
Apprentice. Wait, hang on.
Yes, I know.
I thought they could only
rule of
have...
two.
Now, we're not going to go into this. I need to make a point to your audience.
Okay.
There's only 2 Sith, right?
Only ever supposed to
Bible-
be 2.
How are 2 people supposed to rule the galaxy? Just think of the paperwork alone. Anyway, go ahead. So,
I mean, the Emperor did it for like 20 years.
What's her name? Is the apprentice?
Asajj Ventress. More like assassin than apprentice. She is a dark side user. She has dual red lightsabers, but she was more just his assassin.
I think those dual red lightsabers are more a hindrance to the user than anything else.
Not that one. She actually had 2 lightsabers.
Oh, so she's just greedy.
Sure.
She had 1 extra. Well, what's his name with whose heart got blasted by Obi-Wan had like 12.
General Grievous.
Yes.
He actually was ripped. Never mind. I'm not gonna. That'd be too much.
Yeah.
He.
Again, another person who burned to death in the movie. General Grievous literally burned to death in the movie.
What else was he gonna do?
Died? Not
He was
burned
supposed
to
to
death.
die. He was either gonna
I'm
get
just-
chopped off or burnt. He technically didn't burn to death. His heart just exploded, and then his body burned. So he was already dead before he burned.
Let's go with that.
Yeah. So
It was a dark movie.
That makes it. It was a great movie. It's the best one.
It was a very... So
It's the best Star Wars movie.
the darkest movie was the best movie.
Best soundtrack, best fighting, best
folks,
characters, and the clones.
He's 24 years old. This explains a lot about his upbringing. I kind of wish we hadn't locked him in the closet all those years. Anyway.
Hey.
Okay, so again, how did he get the scar? You were telling me that before.
Basically,
Asajj
Ventress, he got into a fight with Asajj Ventress, and she like nicked him, and he kind of kept the scar as a way to remind himself to always be better when he fights.
Okay. Even though he can't see it. Well, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah.
I will say this.
Plus, it looks cool.
Before we continue with Anakin, that the third movie, what was it called?
Revenge of the Sith.
Revenge of the Sith. Which, for me, and people my age, was not the third movie. It was the sixth movie. I know, it's episode 3.
It is technically the sixth movie, yeah.
But anyway, it does contain the funniest line possibly in all of the movies.
And he doesn't mean hello there, which is my favorite funniest line.
No, it's something along the lines of, to be fair, we're still flying half a ship.
Yes.
Which is one of the
half a ship.
Which is one of the funniest lines in the entire. Back when they were capable of writing humor into these movies. The last movie, which was the last Rise of Jedi
Skywalker,
only had one funny line in the entire movie, and that line was, "Ow." It was the only funny line in the whole movie. What's his name? Lands on his face. Somebody driver.
Adam Driver.
Adam Driver lands on his face, hops up, looks in the camera, and goes, "Ow." That was the only funny part in the whole movie. Movies should have humor.
I think there was another funny part when, he's surrounded by his Knights of Ren, the guys that used to work for him, and he lights his lightsaber up, and they kind of just look at him and goes, like, what can you do? And he starts chopping them up.
The first one, Force Awakens.
That one was okay.
Had the moment where Kylo Ren is pitching a hissy fit, and the stormtroopers come around the corner, stop, and then slowly back away. That was funny.
That was funny.
But
they just got
Disney has forgotten. Now, I will say that number 3 had the darkest moments of any of them, but it also had some lighthearted moments in there as well. So it was broadly written, if not, I mean, there was no Ewoks, there was no joy, there was no. Anyway, so
it was the best movie.
It was your favorite movie because it was Anakin's story arc. Now, hang on. I mean, at the end of the movie, Anakin. We're still talking about Anakin, your favorite character, who's also half a man.
It's really just a quarter of him. He's a stump.
You think about it, Obi-Wan's really good at just cutting people down to size. Anyway, they take him back to some planet and give him parts. Somehow make him taller than he was before. And I know...
More intimidating.
Well, yeah, sure. I mean, you give him James Earl Jones' voice, anybody's going to be more intimidating.
That's true.
But why did he then leave whatever nice planet it was and go back and make his home base on Lava Planet? Because you see him in the Mandalorian shows, or possibly one of the other ones, and he's like...
He's on Mustafar still,
He's there. I mean, did he decide, you know what, that's where my legs are, I'm going to just stay there for the rest of the time? Where are his legs buried anyway? In his arm.
They're not really... They're probably not buried. They probably scattered. They kind of probably fell into the lava, so they're kind of everywhere.
Can I point out a flaw in your logic?
Of what logic?
That Anakin is the best character ever.
Sure.
He had this moment where he did the dumbest thing possible, which was to try and jump over Obi-Wan, as opposed to just landing in front of him, landing next to him.
Landing farther behind him.
How about run 100 yards down range and then come back? Or guys, I know, all right? In situations like this, I always, RGD, right?
Raylan Givens.
What would Raylan Givens have done? He'd have pulled out a gun and shot Obi-Wan.
He doesn't have a gun.
There's your problem. How much simpler would life have been had these Jedi, instead of running around, their little lightsabers, just pulled out a gun and shot somebody.
He was basically raised by Obi-Wan. And what was the line that Obi-Wan said after he killed Grievous? Held the gun up and said, "So uncivilized," and tossed it aside.
I'm just saying.
Of course, he's not going to use. I mean,
why are you trying to leap over the dude? Just jump in front of him. Or hey, how about force pushing him away?
There is a reason they couldn't. And it is yes.
Or was told not to.
Couldn't.
Like physically.
George Lucas had this. It was only said in the graphic novel, not the graphic novel, but like the book for Episode 3, where basically each Jedi or Sith have a force bubble around them, where they cannot have force powers used against them by someone that is lower power than them. It's complicated, but it makes
complicated. Yes.
What about it makes sense after the
Force
fact.
picking up a 5-gallon bucket's worth of lava and flinging it at Obi-Wan?
That could have made for a very good distraction because Obi-Wan probably would have flung it away, but that would have allowed him to do the jump and come over. Anakin didn't want to use. Anakin was always very straightforward. He was never, at that time he wasn't using like tricks and stuff like he was in the Clone Wars. It was I'm going to kill you, so I'm not going to do anything that would, blind you. I'm not going to do any tricks or that. I'm just going to cut you down with my lightsaber.
How much of Anakin have you seen in the movies, or rather, how much of Anakin have I seen versus how much of Anakin have you seen?
There were 7 seasons of Clone Wars.
Was he in all of them?
He was in majority of them.
So he's only 3 movies. So you've seen more of Anakin than I have.
I have seen more of Anakin my entire life.
Okay, now here's a very important question.
I love Anakin.
There's Anakin, as one might argue, in an animated show, the purest form. And then there's Anakin as portrayed by Hayden Christensen, who, at the time, people of my generation go, why'd I hire this guy? Because he's not very good at, the whole acting thing. But that's okay. He was young.
He was very good at the whole acting thing.
Well, bless
your
your
generation just didn't like it because he wasn't Luke Skywalker.
No, my generation didn't like it because he was not very good.
He was angsty in the second movie, which he was supposed to be because he's a teenager. And he was angered and upset in the third movie because he was supposed to be, because the Jedi were kind of failing everything at the same time. And they were trying to make him spy on the Chancellor, not the Chancellor, the Supreme
Emperor.
Chancellor.
Or whatever.
The Supreme Chancellor, Palpatine, who he didn't know was a Sith until basically Palpatine said he was. Like, they were trying to make him spy on someone who was kind of a friend to him and was trusting him.
So, Anakin, not Hayden Christensen, versus Anakin, who is Hayden Christensen, both together equal this whole story arc of a character that you love. But which adaptation, which one added to the lore in your head more / better?
Well, to be honest, probably the one from Clone Wars, who was voiced by Matt Lanter. You remember him from Timeless? He was the main character.
Okay.
Yeah, that guy. He's the voice of Anakin Skywalker. Probably because they added more.
Put a comment down below if anybody but my son knows the name of character actors. Drop a comment that says, yes, old man, every one of us knows the name of character actors, or no one knows the name of character actors.
The bad thing is I don't remember don't remember the name of the man who voices Obi-Wan, which is...
There's only one voice actor in the world I've ever heard of, and that was Batman. Kevin Conroy.
Thank you.
But
he...
have you ever gotten anything signed by a character actor? Leave us a comment down below if you've ever got anything signed by a character actor. Voice actor.
And let me just say, I had the chance to... I went to Comic-Con in Huntsville. There's a dog on my foot. I went to a Comic-Con in Huntsville, and I could have had a signed, Clone Wars picture from all 3 of... Her name's not Ashley Tisdale, but the voice of Ahsoka, the voice of Obi-Wan, and the voice of Anakin. But I didn't because I was broke, and my buddy.
Wait, you mean Candace from Phineas and Ferb?
That's why I said it's not her. That's the first thing that came to mind. It's not her though.
Because that would have been awesome.
That would have been funny. But I also could have had Ichigo from Bleach, but I didn't.
We're not even going to get into Japanese cartoons in this particular episode.
Said I got one from Ben 10, which was fun with me.
I don't want us to distract each other.
Okay.
I saw a thing on Facebook the other day. I don't know if Facebook's for old people. Can't help it. Are they making a live-action Voltron?
I have no idea.
Because Henry Cavill was the main character.
I don't think it's Voltron. It's
no.
probably Warhammer.
No, maybe it wasn't Henry Cavill. I'll have to look it up. The chick who's the 4th judge on the British judge on Masked Singer plays the witch from Voltron. Anyway, you don't know the answer to that. I'll have to look it up while you're talking. All right, so continue on. Anakin was in 7 seasons of Star Wars: The Clone Wars. Happened off screen for those of us who only watch the movies, but that's where
it was between.
That's where he managed to get himself an apprentice, right? Ahsoka appears
Padawan,
in the world as his apprentice.
Of Sith. Padawan is, she also was one of the best written characters ever, too.
I thought you said Anakin was the best written character ever.
I said she was one of. There's a lot of thunder. Cut to here. Ahsoka was very good written character. She was trained by Anakin, which means that she was also. That's crazy.
Henry Cavill is starring in a live-action Voltron. Sorry, when I said Japanese cartoons, the first thing that comes to mind is Voltron.
I'm okay with that, to be honest. But she was trained by Anakin, which means she was,
Where was she then at the end of the movie when her master gets?
She was on. It's not Mandalore.
Cut down to size.
It wasn't Mandalore. I forget the name of the world, but she was on
Had
the
his
Mandalorian.
base of support removed.
You're gonna keep going, aren't you?
No, that's the last one. You know me.
Sure. She was on the main, the new Mandalorian world at the capital of the Mandalorian city, fighting Darth Maul, who was currently the shadow leader of Mandalore.
Hang on, Darth Maul?
Yes.
Which half of him? Top or the bottom half?
Top half. If it was the bottom half, that'd be creepy.
Oh, that would be creepy. If it was the bottom half,
just a bunch of legs.
That would be creepy.
Yeah, no. She was fighting him, and there was this great. I need you to watch it because it's such a great moment, because they're like, while they're about to fight, he can already sense stuff is already starting to change, because the last couple episodes of season 7 happened during episode 3.
Okay.
It's like a 4-part, maybe. I think it's 4 parts. All episodes are part 1, 2, 3, 4.
The information in your brain astounds me.
I just watched them recently, which is why it's up there.
Okay.
But it's because I watched it before we went to watch episode 3. It's also because Darth Maul is getting his own show, so I wanted to watch his episodes. Which.
Oh, what's his name?
Sam Witwer.
Sam Witwer, who I have seen in Battlestar Galactica and Being Human.
There was a post I saw.
American version not as good as the British version, as is usually the case.
Sure. There was a post I saw that Sam Witwer is every Star Wars fan, favorite Star Wars fan. Which makes sense, because because I love watching stuff about him, even when he's not, talking about the shows he's been in.
To bring us back and out of this rabbit trail, in your mind, does the story arc of Anakin end with episode 3?
No, it ends in episode 6
when he dies for good.
Yes, he one of the great
turns into a glowy ghost.
You can probably agree with me on this. That one of the things
apparently changed his face from when I was a kid to when you were a kid.
Because they did a small... Well, yes, because
they retconned the rest of us. Hang on, that's not the guy that we saw with his mask off. That's some random 20-year-old who's a bad actor.
He was a great actor. You just a hater.
This from the man who thinks that Holmes and Watson was a fantastic movie.
I didn't say it was fantastic. I said it was a good movie. I liked it because it was stupid. It was supposed to be.
Ad Astra? Anyway, we're not going to talk
I wasted money on that, and I watched it for free.
I'm just saying.
No, Ad Astra was terrible. He was a good actor. He was a great actor. He still is.
Samuel L. Jackson carried that movie. Number 3. Also, somebody got his hands lopped off. I don't know what it is with George Lucas and body parts just falling off.
And you know what's funny? In the most recent, good Star Wars game, the only parts you can lop off are arms and hands.
That shouldn't even be a thing. Hey, what kind of body parts can I lop? Oh, man, it's only the arms and hands. Yoda lops off 2 poor clone troopers who... It's not their fault they turned bad. It's not their fault they turned bad.
Yes, every other, Jedi was like, I can't, you're betraying me? Why? Trying to question and then try to protect themselves.
And
Yoda didn't even say anything.
Right.
He just
they walk up behind him hey, Master, you want a cup of what? Oh.
They, all he heard was them, activating their guns, and he said, off with their heads. Is
that why the clone trooper things from Lego were just a head? Is there a thing up in here?
No. Careful.
You don't want me to break it, do you?
Please don't break it. Technically, the inside is...
You didn't need that anyway.
It's a scope.
I'm why we can't have nice things.
Yes, you are.
We were not going to get into right now the difference between Commander Cody and Captain Rex. By the way, when they were they, being him and his brother, were younger, they had helmets of these colors, and
I like Captain Rex.
And his brother liked Commander Cody.
Yep.
But anyhow, so Anakin goes on a story arc of redemption, I guess, at the...
Star Wars is very... You can probably agree. Star Wars is one of the best...
They spent 5.9 movies making him the bad guy, and then all of a sudden, whoop, at the very end, he pulls the ripcord and becomes good.
That's the thing. Like I was trying to say, Star Wars is one of the best franchises to ever have, like, constant story arcs of redemption.
I don't do that anymore, not with Kathleen Kennedy.
Exactly. So, I mean, in the third movie, he was having visions, and this is why I said the Jedi failed him. He was having visions of Padme in pain and dying, right? He went to Master Yoda.
And instead of taking her to the hospital, where they have magic medicine, he says, ooh, I'm going to learn magic to keep her alive. Why not just have extra doctors on hand?
He found out because he didn't know what was going to happen. He just knew that at some point she was going to die, and he wanted the power to save her himself. But
medical school.
He had these visions, right? And he went to Master Yoda, the Grand Master of the Jedi Order, and Yoda basically just told him, be careful about those because, trying to caring too much about somebody causes you to go to the dark side. Because the Jedi are all, though at the time...
That's always been strange. Why do you want people who don't care?
Exactly.
Just have robots. Might as well have clones.
In Star Wars Legends...
Wait a minute, what do you mean exactly? Are you saying the Jedi are bad?
Yes, I'm saying the Jedi at that time were some of the... they did not go to war.
Thanks for watching, folks. That's the end of this entire series, and now that we've declared the Jedi bad, YouTube's going to remove us from...
No, they're not going to. I've lost my train of thought. Thank you.
You were talking about Yoda.
In Legends, right? Star Wars Legends, which is like the before...
Is this a TV show?
No, this was a series of books, video games, and comic books.
There's books? Of course there's books.
There's plenty of books. I've read a lot of them. There's very good books, too. I've also listened to some of the audiobooks, which I listened to the audiobook of Revan, which is very good. But in Legends, there was when Luke helped restore the New Republic, right? He then went and he started finding Force-sensitive people and kids and
technically all he did was break the Empire. He didn't really help build the new thing. He just broke.
You're right. He broke the old one, and then
somebody else built
his sister helped build the new one. He went and he started like his own Jedi Order. This is now remember
this is much
Legends.
like you and your brother. Your brother breaks it and you fix it.
I break it and then I fix it. He just kind of computers things. Oh. But no, in Legends, he makes his own Jedi Order. Yes, kind of like what they said he did in the new movies, but they went completely off kilter with it. Even Mark Hamill agrees he would never do that.
Which movie is it that has
old
Luke talking to Ghost Yoda about the books that burned up?
Last Jedi.
The Last Jedi. That actually had another funny moment when Yoda's like, page turners, they were not. Right? I mean, when Luke is lamenting the burning up of these books, and Yoda's like, they were kind of sucked.
Yeah, but he makes his own Jedi Order, and he doesn't he finds like old holocrons and old books and whatnot of what the Jedi Order used to be, and he doesn't teach these new Jedi and Padawans that having attachments is a bad thing, that having falling in love is not a bad thing. Like he's basically like, the more you care about somebody, as long as that care doesn't turn into like obsession and like
wanting to kill an entire village of sand people because
like caring for somebody is fine as long as that care doesn't cause you to have to do bad things to continue to care about them. So he taught these, because that's all the old Jedi were, is you can't have attachments, you can't have love, you can't have kids, you can't have any of this
wonders
stuff.
How they got baby Jedi.
They stole kids.
This is getting darker by the moment.
They would find Force-sensitive kids on other worlds and just scoop them up. They'd be like, hey, we're the Jedi Order.
You're destroying my own childhood.
Your kid is Force-sensitive, so he's coming with us now.
And protect myself from all this. Boy, it's green in there. I'm half concerned there's going to be something.
What?
head in these things, just by all of what's happening in the movies.
I mean, Jango Fett also got his head cut off.
We will discuss. Who? What?
Jango Fett?
That's true.
But Mace
Okay. Okay. I've seen that. Right. Mm-hmm. That was end of 2. Right.
Yep. And then his kid picks it up.
Son picks up the helmet that Obi-Wan just lopped off someone else's head.
No. That was Mace Windu.
And puts his head. Did they not show the scene where his father's head falls out of the helmet?
Hopefully the helmet was empty when he did that. Because if not, then he was probably looking into his father's eyes, which would...
And it meant he had to clean the helmet out at some point.
Because he took his father's armor. And that's what his armor is.
What I'm hearing is, when it comes to stuff like that, don't ask questions.
Don't ask questions, because sometimes you don't want to know the answer. But yes, the Jedi Order was problematic. And I mean, think about it. When they didn't go to war until the Trade Federation showed up and was causing stuff to happen where they were losing power over control of the galaxy. They didn't until the Republic was possibly going to lose power. Until some people were like, "Hey, we don't want to be a part of you anymore," and which this sounds familiar to our history, doesn't it?
Don't ask questions.
Don't ask questions. And they were like, "Okay, well, if they're going to do that, then the Jedi need to come in and they need to help with this war." What the Jedi didn't help with? Slavery. Obvious by Episode 1.
Well, that's true.
Anakin was still a slave. And the Jedi have been in power for 1,000 years, something like that. They didn't get rid of slavery. They didn't get rid of...
it's kind of an oversight on their part.
It wasn't an oversight. They were, we're hands off on everything involving the galaxy until the Republic started losing power. Then they were helped by the Republic. Then they helped the Republic gain that power back. And then what happened?
I need you to...
The Republic turns to Empire.
Explain. We don't have time today on this Anakin-centric episode. I'm gonna need you to explain.
My favorite character.
Yeah, I need you to explain what was going on in the first episode. Anyway, why in the world? Not today. Hold it in. Hold it in. Why was the Republic going to war in the first place? Why were these people trying to separate? And we won't get into that today.
I actually have a simple answer.
What?
Trade. The Trade Federation. That's why they're called the Trade Federation. They were wanting to trade to other people. They wanted to become their own thing so they could make more money. And the Republic was like, well, you're going to take money and power away from us, so no. The Trade Federation was like, no. And
yeah,
they fought over it.
I got you.
So
it
was also because Sidious. He kind of forced them to do it.
Back to the topic at hand.
The Neimoidian Jewish people.
Anakin. Don't get political. You get banned.
I said no. It was a joke that the Neimoidians were like the Japanese or Chinese. Watto from Episode 1 was like the Jewish guy, the guy who cares about money and the big nose. It was like little funny ha-has.
And that was the last time we ever saw this channel.
Nah, it'll be fine.
So back to the story arc of Anakin. Does no other character in all of Star Wars produced lore, what normal people have seen on TV and movies?
You can't say normal people because I'm still normal. I just like Star Wars more than you.
What most people's
fine.
Most people's consumption of Star Wars is limited to movies. So is there no other character in all of that has the same kind of compelling story arc as Anakin? Given that he was only in 2/3 of it.
He was in most of them. To be
because Chewbacca was in just as many.
Yeah, no, Chewbacca was in not a lot of, but
he was misunderstood.
Whenever he was in Clone Wars too.
Yeah,
like the show.
I mean, literally misunderstood because you couldn't hear a word he was saying.
Okay. I mean,
it's twice the man Darth Maul was.
You keep going. Luke is a good character.
And poor C-3PO. Okay.
He went through it the most.
Darth Vader makes C-3PO.
Yep.
Why doesn't Darth Vader recognize C-3PO? It's Anakin, right?
I don't think did he ever see C-3PO?
That's a good question.
I think he once saw R2-D2, but that was it. But no, I don't think he ever saw them. And what happened to
tinkering robot Anakin, who just becomes like brooding teenager Anakin? Did he just give up his robot hobbies?
Pretty much, yeah. Because he was, focused on being a Jedi, he wanted to be a Jedi Master.
And while we're talking about poor R2-D2, no, poor C-3PO, one of those letters.
Yeah.
Why did he get his mind wiped, and R2-D2 gets to keep his mind?
Well, they were supposed to both have their mind wiped. R2-D2's just smarter.
But specifically, Jimmy Smith says wipe the gold one's memory. Don't worry about the little one.
Well, no, he said wipe both of their memories.
I thought he just said the one.
I'm pretty sure. I think he said both.
He said protocol droid. Wipe the protocol droid's memory.
Well, I don't really. Huh?
Has your memory been wiped?
I think your memory is just altered because you're old. But I mean, R2D2 is just smarter and is able to, outmaneuver everybody else and keep his memory. That's also not the first time C-3PO had his mind wiped. I mean, they did that in Rise of Skywalker. They, in order to access some memory of his, that
rings a very faint bell.
They had some little dude that went into his head and did a thing. His eyes turned red. You
recognize that I only have ever seen these movies once.
Yeah, I only watched it the one time too because it was
kind of trash. On a future episode of What Chris Looks Like in 30 Years, what are we calling these? Father Fridays?
Father Fridays.
I would like to discuss my favorite of all the movies, which your mother hates the most. It should be Rogue One. But
Rogue One is a very good movie. Rogue One also has one of the best scenes ever, which is Darth Vader's hallway scene that leads into
I'm
episode.
one with the Force, and the Force is with me as he's walking down, and that's
cool too.
No. That one may have the funniest line when they put the bag over dude's face. He's like, "I'm blind, you idiot!"
It's like, really? I'm blind. No, I love the Darth Vader hallway scene that leads into episode 4 because that's cool. Because it was
this channel is very appropriately named. You do kind of nerd out on small little.
This is what this entire channel and videos for me are for. It is for me to get all this knowledge in my head out and into yours now.
That's disturbing.
No,
Well, bring it in for a landing.
Yeah.
Give me the top 5 aspects of why you like Anakin the best out of so many other characters that are better.
He's not better. Compelling story, redemption arc at the fall was great.
There wasn't an arc. It was a sudden left turn.
No,
you're dying. Can I be saved? Yes, I can.
Here's the thing. He episode 1, right, meets her kind of as a kid. He's just kind of infatuated with her. Episode 2, he's a teenager, is in love with her.
Yeah, that's disturbing. And she's in love with him, which is also disturbing.
She was only a couple of years older than him.
Oh, okay.
And
just taller.
Technically, yeah.
It's a long I hate to interrupt your arc. Okay. Your arc. At any point does Darth Vader know who Darth Maul is? Does Anakin know who Darth Maul is?
Well, yes, he was told who Darth Maul was. Plus, he was there. He saw Darth Maul.
Do we imagine that Anakin ever heard what happened to Darth Maul?
After episode 1?
When he became half the man?
Yes, because in the Clone Wars, he was there. Well, not he was there, but he heard about Darth Maul coming back, being found again.
Baby Anakin, young kid,
little boy
Anakin.
Yeah, he's 10, I think.
Hears that Darth Maul gets cut in half and falls down a mine shaft, and he's fine. And yet, he picks up the Emperor, tosses him down a mine shaft, and he's like, "Oh, he's dead."
He kind of
did it never occur to him? Well, of course, he died 5 minutes later. But did it never occur to him that maybe he's not dead? Because if one guy can keep himself alive just because he's mad,
he fell down. Darth Maul just fell. The Emperor fell down a shaft that also blew up as he was falling. There. He got disintegrated, deatomized.
That is true. And then Darth Vader did die. So
and
anyway,
then he
back
died.
to your list. Number 3.
His suit was meant to be unable to withstand any kind of electrical thing, especially force lightning. So that's why it was he was always going to die.
So reasons 4 and 5. Then I have one final question to ask your audience.
Okay.
You give us the top 3. You give us 3 reasons why Anakin is your favorite. Give us the last 2 of your list of 5.
So I had the redemption. I had the fall. What was my third one?
You said it was the best story arc or the best character.
The redemption arc, the fall was great. He also is, the chosen one, which is why I he's the chosen one. He's good. He had some great kids.
With whom? Oh, with Padme. That's right.
Yeah. He was also probably my number 4 would be as far as in the Clone Wars show. He was funny at times. He had the best relationship with Obi-Wan. It was very funny to watch. And number 5 would be probably because when he turns Darth Vader is just actually awesome.
Well,
Darth Vader. Hey, what other character do you know in all of fiction where hearing someone's breathing can cause people to shiver in their boots?
Yes, you are correct.
Having generals and people in like noble Moff Tarkins and Moffs who think they're above everyone and nothing can touch them except the Emperor here. And suddenly,
I will say
they're
this.
peeing their pants.
As a child and even as a young adult, who grew up on the first 3 movies, the original 3, Darth Vader scared the crap out of me. Now, we're gonna bring this in for a landing with this one question for your audience.
Good, because we're 40 minutes in.
Did no one think to press the red off switch on the front of Darth Vader? He literally has a green button and a red button. Has nobody thought to go, boop, Empire saved?
I watched a video about those, and there's.
Have any of you ever thought that? Hey, let's just turn him off? All right, put it in the comments below.
There's a green button and 2 red buttons, and one of those red buttons does actually turn the entire thing off.
This is what I'm saying.
But the only person who ever got close to him, close to ever touching it, was like in a Marvel comic, like one-off thing. Oh. Nobody could get close because he just wouldn't let them because he's strong. Here's the thing: even when he was when he became Darth Vader and he was in the suit, he lost like, I don't know, 60% of his Force abilities.
Were they in his legs?
Apparently, he needed. Probably something with like.
Maybe that's why Anakin keeps. Obi-Wan keeps lopping him off. Hey, I know where the Force is. It's located in his kneecap.
I think it's something with like, the Force flows throughout and goes through their entire body and then loops back around. So if you just cut off and make the loops, if you cut off the loops, it makes the Force ability smaller.
Head on out.
But he was still, even with 60% of his Force potential gone, he was also still extremely powerful. So if anyone ever tried to get close to him, he'd just throw them away.
With all the technology in the universe,
the only one he couldn't do was
there was no mute button for his breathing.
No, yeah. It was.
You would anyway.
It was awesome though. It's menacing. I love it.
Well, I'm glad to finally hear your I was gonna say obsession, but that sounds dark.
Obsession.
Your affinity.
It's an obsession
for Anakin / Darth Vader.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you for letting me.
Even if we all know who my favorite character is.
Thank you for letting me hijack your show today.
No problem.
I look forward to doing this again next week. Mm-hmm. When we talk about one of the other. Either we can pick whether we're going to do Star Wars.
Yep. Or Marvel. Well, how about this? Next week we're going to see
Thunderbolts.
So we'll probably do a video on that.
I'm going to leave your audience with a question down below. Put in the comments, because we have a running feud that we're going to settle on a video here soon.
Go ahead.
Godzilla or King Kong? And we all know the answer to that one.
King Kong.
Don't ask questions.